Hi, good morning, good day. Thank you for tuning in this morning. It's great to reconnect again after a weekend. I hope that you had a great weekend. You had wonderful church service, and then you are victorious as a leader. I want us to continue with our topic, self-leadership, and we'll be concluding this discussion today. And remember that the last time when we spoke, I said it is very, very important to evaluate your leadership once a month, at least once a month, evaluate your leadership as a leader. And I've advanced some questions that you need to continuously ask yourself as we evaluate your leadership. And today I want to pick up on 4 questions that are critical to ask yourself as you evaluate yourself as a leader, whether you're leading yourself well or what. And the first question has to do with fear. Are you overcoming fear? Fear can be mobilizing. Fear can stop you to act as a leader and do the things that God wants you to do. Sometimes people don't take steps of change when their circumstances deteriorate because of fear. As a leader, you must not allow fear to sabotage your leadership. You need to be a courageous leader. You need to lead. When God instructed to do something as a leader, to take on a mission or to start a new church plant, or to start a community outreach program, if it's God who has spoken to you and you believe so, take that, full force, and then don't be fearful, and lead with courage. 1 John chapter 4 says, the one who's in us is greater than the one who's in the world. Therefore, because you have God inside of you who's greater than Satan in the world, you don't need to fear. It is the leader's job to deal with your fears. Deal with your fears. Face them and deal with them and address them. The second question that I want you to ask yourself as you do self-evaluation of your leaders, or of your leadership, of leading yourself as a leader, is about interior issues. Are interior issues undermining your leadership as a leader? Now, all of us have experienced wounds in this life as leaders, losses and disappointments in our past. And I think it is critical as a leader to always ask yourself, are interior issues in my life undermining my leadership? Leaders who ignore interior issues often do so at their own peril. And at the end of the day, you'll make unwise decisions and suffer consequences as a result. Make a decision to always forgive as a leader. We work with people, and people will sin against us, will sin against people, but always make sure as a leader that you forgive, and make sure that you do. It is the leader's job to deal, to make sure that your interior issues are addressed. All right, the third question that I want to pick on as you evaluate yourself as a leader is about your pace. Is your pace sustainable as a leader? You must accept that you cannot be everywhere at the same time. There are certain things that you cannot do as a leader, and you need to accept. All right, thank you. The third question that I want to pick up on is about your pace. Is your pace sustainable as a leader? You need to accept as a leader that you cannot be everywhere at the same time as a leader. You need to make time for yourself, for your wife, and for your children. Delegate certain stuff in your organization. It can be business, it can be church. Learn to delegate. Don't be a jack of all trades as a leader. If you want to measure that you're the best leader, one of the ways of measuring is how many leaders are you raising under you who are empowered to do the work and carry the same vision that God has given to you. Therefore, delegate. Establishing a sustainable pace for your life is good. And it's critical that as a leader you achieve that. Your life, your ministry, your marriage, and your family, they all depend on your pace. So make sure that you set a realistic pace for yourself as a leader. The second one is about love. Love for people and God. Is your love for God and people increasing? Now, I always say to people that church work, especially me as a leader, I'm in church work, I'm a pastor, and probably in business is the same, and I believe so, because in business you work with people, you manage people, you lead people, but it's very, very important to always ask yourself, Do you still love people? How much do you love people? And as a Christian leader, your love for God is critical. Your love for God is critical. So is your love for people and God increasing? You see, church is all about people. And if we miss people, we have missed the mission of God. And the critical part of that is your love for mankind. You know, people are God's greatest treasure, and they ought to be our greatest treasure as leaders. When was the last time you helped a person as a leader? When was the last time you helped a person as a leader? I was speaking to my friend, Pastor Kennedy, and last week they were doing an outreach in Randbeck, and they were just spending time with the poor of the poorest and handing out gifts to them and spending time with them. Those are the things that ignite situations like that. And that ignite. As I conclude, I just want to summarize what you've been talking about. The first thing is about fear. Are you overcoming your fear? Are you dealing with interior issues as a leader? Is your pace sustainable? Is your love for God and people increasing?